Do you know anybody who's equaled or bettered the Quran and the general consensus is that the challenge has been met?
I mean, look,
You speak Arabic, right?
a little bit.
In Lebanon, they speak Arabic, right?
Yeah. We have a local dialect.
If the inimitability challenge of the Quran had been met by Arab speakers and they published a work, and in fact Allah says, produce just one chapter like it. That's 3 verses.
There are already.
Okay, so where can I find these works?
Gospels.
And who agrees unanimously, Christian and non-Christian academics, that the challenge has been met?
I mean, that's a challenge you're placing, but there is, like the Quran, and in my opinion, the Gospels yield greater fruit.
No. The inimitability challenge is a very specific challenge.
Yeah, and
of language.
Okay, I produced another one, the Bible.
Yeah.
The Gospels.
But what I'm saying to you is Allah says, and bring your witnesses, i.e. non-Muslim and Muslim, come together, come to an agreement that yes, this challenge has been met.
I mean, I believe that the Gospels met the challenge, and I don't agree with the perception of the challenge.
What is there's lots of you guys trying to refine the conversation. But when you started, what you said was that something didn't feel right to you. That this was earthly, and therefore that didn't feel right to me. Then you said that you can't use your disposition because your disposition is flawed.
True.
Yeah. So that means whether something feels right to you or not is irrelevant. Well, the reality is not. The reality is not determined by your feelings.
Like you said, we ought to defer to the Creator and also those around Him.
So you're jumping ahead.
Well, no, you defer to the Creator, and that's what I did.
No. So you've jumped. So we're starting from the foundation and we're building up the argument. I want you to, on every stage, give your position. So, do you understand?
My criteria, so I'll tell you. Yeah. So there's what the person says and the signs that accompany the person. And it's not just that, but also the manner in which the person lived. All those things come at the same time. You have the manner in which they lived, what they said, and the signs that accompany them. Those are my criteria.
So give me those criteria again.
The signs that accompany the person, the manner in which they lived, and what they had to say.
Okay. And where did you get this criteria from?
This one is my own.
Yes. But you can't trust your personal disposition. You said.
I know, but we have to make educated guesses at one point, right? That's what faith is.
This is a difference between the Christian and the Muslim.
Don't agree. You have faith in the Quran.
I'll explain. So we don't believe because of based upon feelings. So I'll give you the basic assumption. So reality is not determined by your personal disposition. If there is someone who can do miracles or whatever that might be, it's insufficient for me to accept them in any authority as someone speaking from God. If there is someone who's living in the middle of a jungle in a cave, eating raspberries on one leg,
but then how?
And I'm explaining. Let me explain the thing. And they say they're very pious and they love everybody. Insufficient as a criteria. Now, in terms of what they say, you have to clarify that. What do you mean by what they say? What is that?
What they say about how to experience the world.
So give an example.
I can give you an example, but the gist of it is, the purpose of all of it is, like I said, to build virtue and to kill the evil in order to gain entry to heaven. Because before God there can be no sin.
So where did you get this criteria from?
This is Christian. He basically confirmed the Christian theology.
So if you're helping me as a non-Christian understand the validity of your position.
But by the way, I want to go back to saying, you said I did this based on feelings.
Yeah.
Not true. I did not do it based on feelings.
Yeah.
I placed criteria. All those things at the same time.
Yeah, I understand. But I said, where did you get this criteria from?
It's my own determination. Yes. Based on I determined to use these criteria.
This is the base now.
Now, okay, let me ask you, what's your criteria?
Okay, I'll come to that. But what you can't do in response to my question is ask me the question back. I could come to the criteria. But first we have to establish do you understand what I'm saying?
You're not giving me. I'd said my criteria.
I understand. And what I'm doing is I'm analysing the validity of your criteria in my eyes.
Based exactly.
Oh, no, hang on, I'll come to it.
Based on your eyes.
One second. The point here is this. You said that this position is invalid.
No, I didn't say that.
You said earlier on.
Let's say it's invalid. Invalid? What
You
is
said
invalid?
you can't use your disposition
Well,
because your disposition is flawed.
I'm saying
Those are
you're
your
claiming I'm using my disposition, and you are saying that in your case you're not appealing to your disposition.
I haven't said anything about myself.
Okay, then please tell me the criteria you use.
So all I was trying to do is become a bit defensive is understand where you're coming
No,
from.
I asked him for the conversation. He's a really nice guy. He was listening to. And by the way, afterwards we go for a shawarma.
I like shawarma.
So if you want to join us, you're more than welcome as our guest.
So I was interested in this discussion because the criteria you gave were it didn't. This seemed very earthly.
Yeah.
And then you said it was the criteria. Then you gave your criteria comes from your disposition. You also just said your disposition is not insufficient. And then so what you seem to be referring to is anybody who is what you would consider to be doing things that are good, saying things that are good, and what was the other aspect of it? Doing some sort of miraculous type of events around them.
So yeah. Well, at the end, these are signs to support what the person has to say.
By the way, we didn't start the conversation properly. What's your name?
Kareem.
Abbas.
Nice to meet you, Abbas.
Imran.
Imran, good to meet you.
Likewise. So the problem with having signs and wonders is that there are many false people who can do signs and wonders.
I agree with that.
So signs and I'm just hashing out the criteria. So for us, signs and wonders is not one of them.
Well, we have the tradition to tell us, which signs are good, which are bad. Usually from the occult. In the occult, miraculous looking things can happen, but they are of the evil source. I mean, this has to do with usually sacrificing something, and the worst thing you do is sacrifice a child. Human sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that is knowledge of the occult. And usually that we're taught that that's designed to hurt God. It's to please the demons, so demons do whatever you ask them to. Well, anyway,
human sacrifice.
No, abortion usually.
Oh, abortion.
Yeah, it's the sacrificing of an innocent soul. And so, where was I going with this? Something to about bad miracles and good miracles. Yeah. Well, if the miracle is associated with that, you can be certain it's from the dark side, because we know from the angelic world. I mean, all have the ability to do these things. So, yeah, it can either be heavenly or it can be from the dark. So, anyway, I'm just telling you church tradition.
Okay. So when you're talking to me and you're talking about human sacrifice being demonic, in my mind, and I'm being very honest with you.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's the only thing going through my mind.
Yeah, but it's the sacrifice of someone innocent.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
Let me explain. So human sacrifice is abhorrent. The Old Testament states this. God curses the pagan nations for carrying out human sacrifice.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Jesus did that. Yeah.
You're talking about sacrificing of a human being as your mechanism of salvation.
Yeah. Well,
so for me, when I hear this, I don't know how to reconcile those two things together.
But the difference there is that Jesus, he did it of his own accord, though, in himself, highlighting humility, love, and all the virtues you can imagine.
What do you mean of his own accord?
Basically, we know he performed miracles. He could have not been crucified, but
did he ask to not be crucified?
No, he didn't. I know what you're going to refer to. That part where it's if you could just the cup pass. Yeah, it's all other times. He knew that the Son of Man was going to be delivered up. He knew that the whole time. But that Psalm 22, it's not as I will, but as you will. It's one of the prayers. Not Psalm 22, it's another psalm.
So if he says, everything is possible with you, he's talking to the Father, and if it's possible, remove this cup from me. Yeah? So there's two statements there. So first of all, everything is possible.
My will.
And then, if it's possible, remove this from me. But not as I will, as you will. So there's a clear statement there that what he wants and what the Father wants are not the same.
I mean, it is a mystery. I get what you mean, but we also have, we have both. We see the aspects of his humanity and his divinity all across.